Hello everyone, it is Mr. Mysterious here coming at you with another Holo-E-Book review. This time we'll be finishing off our series of Darth Bane books with Darth Bane Dynasty of Evil by Drew Karpyshyn, as with all the other books. This is the last in the series, and thus it has a lot to live up to, not being the middle with that weird little spot in the story. Not being the start, which has a very important role of establishing the characters, it is using established characters to finish off a major storyline. And I'm not sure if it succeeds or not. I feel satisfied with the end, but I'm not sure if the journey lived up to the rest of it. So let me start, as usual, with what I liked about the book. This book mainly focuses on the end of Bane, his death, air quotations, I'll get to that later, and the rise of Darthzana as the new master and her apprentice, which is thrown around a bit quite in the middle, and then towards the end is resolved quite nicely, I believe. I really like Darthzana's character development here. It shows her now as having to take on the role of the leader of the Sith, leader of one of two Sith, and trying to find someone who can be suitable in a subservient role until they have acquired enough knowledge to take on the Master. And I quite like her character interaction with the possible candidates. Most notably the Rogue Jedi, the Dark Jedi as it is referred to. He is quite a character in himself. I quite like it. He's actually a lot of fun to read about and listen to in general, because he's not like most Force users. He's very out there. He's very cocky. He's very self-assured. He knows he is a force to be trifled with most people. And it's a fun character to watch, especially him reacting to Xana. As always with these, the plot is solid and the characters are well-rounded. I'm not sure how to phrase this, really, because I'm kind of feel like I'm in an impasse here, and I'm kind of leaning towards this, so take this with a grain of salt, that I enjoy the ending. As in the last 2 pages that finish the entire thing off. It leaves it on a bit of a cliffhanger, and if you haven't read it, I really recommend reading these last 2 pages, because it will leave you wondering. I've been wondering since I first read the book about what is actually correct, and it hasn't been addressed. As far as I know, nothing's been said about it by the author, by any of the other books, the next being Darth Plagueis, and it said nothing about it in there. And it's kind of, it gets me, you know? It gets me. I guess that can be considered a plus, though. It makes me, if it makes me think, then it has to be a good thing. Moving on to my dislikes, it brings back a character, a very, very minor character, from literally the start of the first book that we have not seen or heard from since. That's really not necessary. Maybe it was to advance the plot, but I can't be sure. If it was just to bring back feelings of nostalgia, well, if I'm blitzing through this, then I don't have a feeling of nostalgia, and if I'm not, then I wouldn't remember that character anyway, because she was a minor character. It feels pointless, and as much as she's kind of an interesting character in the story, I just get the nagging feeling that she was not necessary, and the story could have gone on as good or better without her. I feel at the start it has a very slow build-up. If you didn't know or didn't remember, the first book started out with Bane mining in the mines and getting into a fight where he bites a dude's finger off. The second one opened up with at least some interesting stuff, you know? It opened up fairly uniquely. And the third one, it starts out with a bit of excitement, but it's not excitement directly related to our characters, and then it ends up building slowly towards the middle bits in the climax at the end. And I'm not sure if that's in favor of, because it ends up slowing down the story, and we end up just having to wait for more interesting stuff to happen. And my final gripe. I wish I didn't have to say this, because I mean, it's literally the name of the books, but there's very little focus on Bane at this point. It's mostly focused on Darth Zana. It is mostly focused on other minor plot characters, like the healer's daughter, who is a major character in this book. It's just, I feel like we've really lost focus, and as great as it is to bring in more characters that have been introduced in the series, this series is about this one guy that we previously knew nothing about, and we've learned all the stuff in the first book, a little less in the second, and now in the third, he's there to die. He is there to be used as a plot device to forward Darth Zana as the new Sith, and I don't like that. No, I don't. I wish we got to see more of him, because, again, he's the main character of these book series. So many characters as they introduce, he's still the main character. He will always be the main character, because Bane, as much as I like the other characters, is the most interesting. We've had the most time with him. We've got to see him in an entire book of him rising to power, and it was great. That's why I love the first one so much. But we lose focus like this. We get into our side stories, and he fades into the background, and we're not reading a Bane book anymore. We're reading a Star Wars book, but we're not reading a Bane book, because he's there, but it's not about him anymore. It's about the things he's caused. In a way, that can be a good thing, but in a way, that's not. And I feel that more of it as a bad thing than a good thing. All of that considered, it's still a solid book. Not as solid as the second, and the second was as solid as the first, but it's solid. If you enjoy reading the series and you want to see how it finishes, then you will be left satisfied. Not overly, not underly, but satisfied at how it ended. And really, it does its job in that way. It does its job in giving us closure to the end while still making us think. And that is a feat that I will applaud to heaven and high earth, because not enough books do that. Hesitant thumbs up? I will see you guys next time. I do have a plan for next time. I will actually be doing a double review, or a review series, depending on how I'm feeling, of the Jedi Path and the Book of Sith, which are two books that I really enjoy. They're really, really great books that contain a lot of really cool reference material in a lore-friendly form. But more on the next time. Until then, this has been Mr. Mysterious, signing off on the Holo-E-Book review.